In our last session, we read a letter from a woman who described the possible depression of her husband, Mark. I described to her the symptoms and nature of depression and recommended that she seek professional help. I also discussed why it was so difficult for Mark to seek help, because he would have to admit that he wasn't in control, which would be a real loss of imitation love in the form of power. Now, back to the writer of the letter. If you don't understand how difficult it is for Mark to ask for help, you may push him too hard and make it even harder for him to get help. It's not likely that he'll get the help he needs on his own, though, so it is important that you do what you can here. Let me suggest some phrases that you might choose from as you talk to him. I'm not telling you to use any one of these. You know him best. But these are some phrases that have proved useful in many cases, and you might find some combination of them useful. For example, depression is a result of a chemical imbalance in the brain. It's not your fault. Another, you feel guilty about having to take a pill to be a whole person, but it's just a health problem, like many others. Diabetics, people with heart disease, and others have to take insulin and other medications to live. Taking a medication for depression is no different. There's just something wrong with your body. In this case, part of your brain, not something wrong with your character. My concern here is for you. When you're depressed, you simply can't be happy, and I'd love to help you do whatever it takes so you can be happier than you are now. Another thing you might say, when you're depressed, you're not just down. Your judgment is actually impaired, so you can't even see just how unhappy and confused you are. That's why it's so important that you let somebody else, like a doctor, help you with this. Another, depression does not make you weak. It's just something that happens to people through no fault of their own. Winston Churchill had depression, Abraham Lincoln, Terry Bradshaw, Hall of Fame pro football quarterback. It's not a weakness. Another, this is a problem you can't handle alone. You can't just buck up and live with it. And why even try to do it alone, since it can be handled with a medication? Another, you have nothing to lose here. Suppose you go in for an evaluation and you start on the medication and nothing happens. Suppose you don't feel a bit better. You'll only have lost a few dollars while the potential reward is unspeakably huge. Another thing you might say, if you can't see a reason to do this for yourself, do it only for me. I'm begging you to see a doctor about this and try a medication. If it doesn't work, I won't bother you any more about it. As you speak to him, you must have no expectations about his response, or he will feel your insistence and manipulation. A lack of real love always makes clinical depression much worse. So the more you can love him unconditionally, the better he'll feel, and the better he'll respond to your request that he get treatment, and the better he'll respond eventually to his antidepressants.